when I started designing Perdition's Mouth, it already back then had kind of like different chapters. And this is the final chapter of Perdition's Mouth. This is the part where we needed to teach all the players how to play the basic game and then some expansions. So we needed to level up the players, not the heroes. Everyone knows that the heroes can level up whenever it's convenient. But it was much harder task to level up the players. And now we know we have plenty of players who are already capable of playing the base game, and this brings all the final touches into the what I would call saga of Perdition's Mouth. So this is going to be more story driven. It comes with 3 different factions, so you can play the same game from any of those 3 factions perspective. So it could be that you are one of the dwarves like this, and then these are your allies. It equally well could be that these guys that you know from the previous games, the cultists, are actually your friends. See, a summoner could be your next best friend. Consider that. However, insectoids are always like the basic enemies, and then we have the 3rd faction, which is the Dark Fairies. Unfortunately, I don't have the example minis here. Every new faction or every faction comes with 2 new heroes. So this would be, for instance, the 2 new heroes of the dwarves, a golem and Martinez, who is like a little bit invalid guy with a cannon and steam-driven wheelchair. So these are the new heroes of the dwarves, but you cannot play with these if you are on the side of the cultists. Then these would be your enemies. So whichever of the 3 sides you want to end up playing with means that the rest of the guys will be then your enemies. This is very story-driven game, more so even than the previous ones, but it also has a few of the very important extra rules that make it more flexible and even more, a brain teaser. I guess you remember from the earlier times that we didn't do Perdition's Mouth so that it's easy to complete. There is always a challenge. Well, so it is in here, and in this game the challenge is not only that the scenarios are difficult or challenging, but it could be that it ends for the opponents winning. So then on the next scenario the opponents are already stronger because you kind of failed in the previous one. Then you can of course back a bit and then do it again. But that's how it goes in here. All of these 3 factions have unique abilities, and not only hero abilities but factional abilities. So unlike in the previous version, we will see also unique enemies. We will see different variants of the same enemies, and we plan to do all of the miniatures out of resin. So that means that each miniature should be unique. There are no duplicates of the miniatures. So for instance, we can have the same card with mushrooms or skulls, so that this actually makes it different. And then these are something that you need to glue out a few pieces. So for instance, this comes in 4 pieces that you need to glue by yourself. So allows twisting and tweaking a bit. As you can already see from the map, this is 36 times 24 inches as a base map, and then you are building the actual scenario from this kind of cardboard tiles. So the cardboard tiles go on the base map, which has the coordinates still. And on the side here we have the initiative track. Initiative track is probably the biggest single change in the system, because this means that you can have you don't any longer have exactly player's turn and enemy turn, but it's like a mixed flow. So if these blue cards would be the hero turn and this would be a Chilean turn, first all Chileans take turn, then 3 of the heroes and then, for instance, the acolytes. So it really makes it a different thing. And as these are cards that the scenario sheet tells that, okay, take these cards, shuffle, and deal, you are always having a different kind of initiative track order. So it also means that every single play, every single scenario, even if you play on the same faction side, will play differently because the initiative is different. So it's, how would I put it, one more brain teaser for you to puzzle. I have been working with this now for 3-4 years. So I started doing this particular expansion before we even got the first version out, because I knew that these are the elements that I want to bring, but we had to have people who are ready for it. And now we hope that people are ready for it. And it's going to be next March in Kickstarter. Of course, we will also provide the base games at the Kickstarter, so if you don't have anything, you don't need to feel that, oh, I'm left out. We allow you to have it, you to have the base game as well. But there are so many with the base game that this should be then the final chapter, and let's see how many of you can actually do it. Story has 7 different endings, and I'm very keen on seeing which of those endings becomes the most popular.
So does this retrofit the old rules in the base game, or does that stay the same?
Almost all the base game rules stay the same. There are a very few things, more or less additions, like the initiative track, and then things like you can jump from here to here because these are platforms. This is taking place in a giant geode. So it's an empty space where these are platforms, so you can shoot and jump from platform to platform. So that kind of small additions are there, but basically it's the same base rules.
Okay, so it's the same cards for the combat system and things like that?
Yes.
Because that was one of the things I really liked about the original game, was the variation from all those things. And
all of that remains the same. But there is a thing that you and many others have been asking. Do you guess what that is? It's a leveling up of heroes. We are finally having it. But it happens exactly once. It happens when you are moving from the base game to here. And how does it happen is that we provide new hero sheets that are a little bit upgraded, and 3 new cards for every single hero. And then you need to choose which cards do you keep in your hero deck for each hero, because they can only have 14 cards. And typically, if you have all of the stuff already, you would probably have 15 cards plus 3, 18 cards. So then you need to choose that, okay, which cards do I keep and which cards do I actually discard? So you can all build your heroes in a way you like. But once.